The colony on Arendor 9 was quiet, almost too quiet. Rylan walked through the narrow corridors of the outpost, checking the communication panels. Everything seemed normal, but something in the air made his instincts tense. He had learned to trust his instincts after years of patrolling human colonies. A sudden blip on the long-range scanner caught his attention. It was small, almost invisible, but it was moving fast toward the colony. "That's not a normal ship," Rylan muttered, grabbing his communicator. "Tara, do you see this?" In the control room, Tara was already looking at the data, her eyes widening. "Rylan, I don't know what it is. It's not responding to any hails." She tapped the screen, trying to track the ship's trajectory. "It's coming straight for us." Rylan ran to the landing bay, the doors sliding open with a hiss, revealing the gray, rocky landscape outside. The small ship descended slowly, kicking up dust and small rocks. Its shape was strange, unlike any human or known alien craft. It was sleek, dark, with smooth surfaces that reflected the harsh light of the twin suns. As the ship landed, a panel on its side slid open, revealing a figure inside. Rylan squinted, trying to make sense of it. It was a woman, human-like in shape, but her skin had a faint, almost metallic glow. Her hair was dark and messy, and her eyes looked tired, scared. She held something tightly in her arms, a small piece of cloth that seemed to shimmer slightly. Rylan stepped closer, raising his hand in a gesture of peace. "Who are you?" he asked, his voice steady but his heart raced. The woman did not answer. She took a small step forward, then whispered something barely audible. I'm not clean." The words froze him for a moment. They made no sense, but the fear in her eyes made him step closer. "Not clean? What do you mean?" he asked, trying to sound calm. She did not respond, but she pressed the cloth against her chest, her fingers gripping it tightly. Tara's voice came through the communicator, tense. "Rylan, whatever that cloth is, it's giving off strange energy readings. I've never seen anything like it. Be careful." Rylan nodded, his eyes never leaving the woman. "We mean you no harm," he said, taking another step. "Just show me what's happening." Suddenly the cloth pulsed, a soft light spreading across its surface. Rylan felt a strange warmth in his chest, like a small spark of energy traveling through him. He stumbled slightly, caught himself on the railing. The woman looked at him with wide eyes, as if afraid he might hurt her. "Rylan, be careful," Tara warned again. "The readings just spiked. It's reacting to your presence." The woman's whisper came again, softer this time. "I cannot let them take it." Rylan frowned. Who are they?" She shook her head slightly, tears forming in her eyes. They will destroy everything." Rylan felt a chill run down his spine. He had seen danger before, but there was something different about this, something bigger than any enemy he had faced. He took a deep breath, trying to calm his racing thoughts. "We'll protect you," he said. "Tell me what to do." The cloth pulsed again, stronger this time, and a faint hum filled the landing bay. Rylan looked around, realizing the entire bay's systems were flickering. Lights dimmed, consoles beeped, and even the small robots that patrolled the area froze for a moment. The woman whispered again, her voice urgent. "You don't understand. It is alive. It will choose." Rylan's eyes widened. "Choose what?" he asked, but before she could answer, the cloth glowed brighter, a soft blue light spreading across the bay. The energy from the cloth seemed to reach out, brushing against Rylan, filling him with warmth and fear at the same time. His heart raced. He felt connected to it in a way he could not explain. What are you?" he whispered, more to himself than to her. The woman's lips trembled as she spoke. I am the last of my people. This cloth holds everything. Our history, our future." Rylan swallowed hard, understanding a fraction of her words. The colony suddenly felt fragile, tiny in the vastness of space. He realized that the woman and the cloth she carried were not just a mystery. They were a key to something that could change everything for humanity. A sudden warning alarm blared, startling both of them. Outside the bay, the scanners detected multiple ships approaching. Unknown shapes, moving fast, clearly armed. Their signals were faint but hostile. Rylan clenched his fists. "Tara, we have company," he said, his voice low but firm. The woman's eyes widened in fear and she whispered almost to herself, They found me. Rylan took a deep breath, his resolve firming. Then we fight, he said, and stepped closer to her, the glowing cloth between them, the fate of the colony, and maybe humanity, suddenly resting in their hands. The colony's lights flickered as the unknown ships closed in. Rylan's heart raced, but he forced himself to focus. The alien woman held the cloth tighter, the glow from it casting strange shadows across her pale face. Tara, scan the ships, Rylan said, his voice tense. I need to know what we are facing. Tara's hands flew across the console, her eyes wide as the readings came in. They are not human, Rylan, and their energy signatures. They are similar to the cloth, but corrupted, twisted, and dangerous. Rylan frowned, glancing at the woman. Do you know them? She shook her head quickly. No, I have never seen them, but they want the cloth. They will not stop until they have it. Her voice trembled, but her eyes held determination. The cloth pulsed again, sending small sparks into the air. Rylan stepped closer. It's reacting again, Tara. Can you tell why? Tara shook her head. It's not like anything we have studied. It's alive, or it thinks it is. It responds to emotion, intent, even fear. The woman whispered softly, It chooses its protectors and its enemies. Rylan felt the weight of her words, the cloth now glowing brighter, as if sensing the approaching danger. He glanced at the bay doors, where shadows of the enemy ships moved, fast and silent. Suddenly, the doors burst open, a blast of air shaking the room, and a figure appeared, humanoid, but their armor shimmered like dark glass, energy weapons drawn. Step back, Rylan shouted, drawing his sidearm, but the enemy did not hesitate. They lunged toward the woman. The cloth pulsed violently, a shockwave exploding outward, knocking the attackers back. Rylan shielded his face, the air charged with energy. The woman whispered almost in awe, It fights for me. Rylan realized then that the cloth was not just a relic, it was a weapon, a living force of unimaginable power. But the moment of relief was short. The enemy regrouped, their weapons adapting, glowing with the same corrupt energy as the cloth. Tara, override the shields, Rylan shouted as he fired at the incoming enemies. The shots barely slowed them, and the woman stepped forward, the cloth lifting slightly, the glow expanding, sending out tendrils of light that wrapped around the attackers, tossing them like toys. Rylan could not believe his eyes. What is it doing? He asked, almost in disbelief. It is protecting me. It will not let them take it, she whispered, her eyes still fixed on the glowing cloth. Suddenly, a new alarm blared. The scanners detected a second wave of ships, larger, faster, and heavily armed. Rylan's mind raced. He had faced battles before, but never against enemies who seemed connected to a living weapon. The woman stepped closer to him, her voice low, urgent. You must understand. Now, the cloth is not just a tool. It carries the last knowledge of my people, the last hope for survival. For all humans. Rylan swallowed hard, the weight of her words pressing down on him. Then we protect it. No matter what, he said, determination hardening in his voice. The cloth pulsed again, stronger this time, the glow filling the entire bay. And then, something impossible happened. Holographic images appeared above it, showing alien worlds, star systems, maps, and strange symbols that seemed alive, moving and shifting. Tara gasped. Rylan, these are coordinates, intelligence. This is not just a weapon. This is a map of something. Something big. Rylan stared, realizing that the cloth was more than history. It was a guide, a key to secrets humanity had never dreamed of. Suddenly, the enemy breached the outer walls, robotic sentries rushing in. But the cloth reacted instantly, tendrils of energy whipping out, disabling the machines. Rylan and the woman moved together, the glow surrounding them like a shield. The woman whispered almost to herself, They will not take it, not while I live. Rylan nodded, gripping his weapon tightly, realizing the truth. This was no ordinary rescue, no simple battle. They were fighting for the future, for the very survival of humanity. A final pulse of light shot from the cloth, hitting the approaching enemies, knocking them back, and the bay fell silent for a moment. The glow dimmed, but the power lingered, humming in the air like a heartbeat. Rylan looked at the woman, awe and fear mixed in his eyes. I don't know what this is, or what it wants, but I know we are not ready for it. She nodded. Then we must learn, quickly. Outside, the shadowy enemy ships retreated, but Rylan knew it was only temporary. They would return, stronger, more dangerous, and this time, they would not wait for warning. The woman clutched the cloth again, whispering softly, It will choose. It has chosen you. Rylan's heart skipped, understanding the weight of her words. He was no longer just a protector of the colony. He was a guardian of something far greater, something that could change the course of humanity. And as the twin suns of Arendor 9 set behind the distant mountains, casting long shadows over the colony, Rylan realized that nothing would ever be the same again. The cloth had awakened, and with it, a new chapter of humanity's story had begun. The night on Arendor 9 was silent, but the silence was heavy. Rylan patrolled the perimeter with the woman close beside him, the cloth glowing faintly in her hands. Its light pulsed with every beat of her heart, casting shadows that seemed to move with a life of their own. Tara, keep the scanners up, Rylan said, his voice low, tense. They might try again. Tara's voice came through the communicator, sharp and anxious. They are regrouping, Rylan, and they are sending something bigger, more advanced. You have very little time. Rylan nodded, his mind racing. He had fought enemies before, but never against something that felt alive. Something that could choose, think, and strike with instinct. Suddenly a shadow passed over the colony, and the ground shook with a deep rumble. Rylan looked up and froze. A massive enemy warship hovered above the colony, larger than anything they had seen. Its hull shimmered with corrupted energy, pulsating like the cloth. The woman whispered, It knows where we are. Her fingers tightened around the cloth, the glow intensifying, sending tendrils of light outward, scanning, sensing, protecting. Rylan raised his weapon, but he knew bullets would do nothing against the massive ship. Tara, can the defenses hold? He shouted, panic creeping into his voice. Tara's reply was grim. Not for long, Rylan. They will break through unless the cloth does something, quickly. The enemy ship fired first, energy blasts tearing through the perimeter. Rylan and the woman dove behind a wall, the ground exploding around them. The cloth flared suddenly, a shockwave of blue energy ripping through the battlefield, throwing the attackers back and stabilizing the colony's defenses. Rylan looked at her in awe. It's like it knows exactly what to do. The woman's eyes were wide, her face pale. It has chosen. It chooses every move, every strike. The enemy ship hovered closer, a massive arm extending, ready to grab the cloth. Rylan shouted, No, you will not take it, and charged forward, but the ground trembled beneath him, the energy from the enemy ship reacting with the cloth, creating violent sparks in the air. The woman held the cloth high, whispering a single word, almost like a prayer, protect. The cloth responded instantly, energy lashes shooting out, striking the enemy ship's arm, tearing metal and sending energy sparks flying. Rylan felt the ground shake again, the colony's walls trembling. He realized the fight had only just begun, and they were already on the edge of disaster. We need a plan, he shouted, ducking behind debris as another blast hit. The woman's voice was calm, almost eerie in the chaos. There is no plan. The cloth will guide us. Rylan blinked, unsure if she meant it literally, but the next moment proved her right. The cloth pulsed again, brighter this time, showing holographic images of the enemy ship, its weak points, and even hidden paths through the colony. Tara, can you use this data? Rylan asked, hope in his voice. Tara's fingers flew over the controls. I can try, Rylan, but this is unlike anything we have ever seen. The cloth is doing what no human technology could. Rylan turned to the woman. Then we follow it, whatever it tells us to do. She nodded, her eyes glowing, the cloth extending light tow. Are the outer walls forming a path, a protective barrier that moved with them as they ran. The enemy ship fired again, more energy blasts tearing into the ground, but the cloth reacted faster, creating energy shields that absorbed and redirected the attacks. Rylan could feel its power, raw, unstoppable, yet controlled. And then, the first wave of enemy soldiers dropped from the ship, landing with a thud, their weapons raised, energy crackling around them. Rylan aimed his gun, but the cloth surged forward, glowing like a sun, striking the soldiers, throwing them off their feet. He felt a rush of adrenaline. It's incredible. It's like having an army inside a single piece of cloth, he whispered, ducking another blast. The woman's voice was steady, commanding. It is alive, and it chooses us. But before they could recover, a massive explosion rocked the colony, throwing debris everywhere. Ryland's ears rang, and he fell to the ground. The cloth hovered above the woman's hands, glowing fiercely, forming a dome of light that shielded them from the destruction. Ryland scrambled to his feet, his heart pounding. We can't hold them forever, he said, desperation in his voice. The woman's eyes glowed with determination. We don't need forever. Just long enough. The cloth pulsed one final time, and a beam of energy shot toward the enemy ship, striking it at its core. The massive vessel shuddered, sparks flying, alarms blaring, and then it began to retreat. But Ryland knew it would return, stronger, smarter, and more dangerous. He looked at the woman, awe and fear mixing in his eyes. I don't think we are ready for what comes next. She nodded, whispering softly, Then we prepare. The cloth will teach us. The colony lay in ruins around them, fires burning, walls broken, but the glow of the cloth filled the darkness, a beacon of hope. And as Ryland helped the woman move toward the control room, he realized one truth. This was no ordinary battle, and they were no ordinary humans. They were chosen, and the cloth had awakened a new power, one that could change the fate of humanity forever. The colony lay in shadows, fires flickering across broken walls. Ryland's boots crunched over debris as he moved cautiously. The woman held the cloth close, its glow casting long, shifting patterns on the ruined ground. They are retreating, Tara's voice came through the communicator, shaky but alert. But not for long, Ryland. They are regrouping. And they have something else, something bigger. Ryland frowned, gripping his weapon. Something bigger than the ship? Tara hesitated. Yes. I'm not sure what, but the readings are unlike anything we have faced. Ryland turned to the woman, her face pale but resolute. Do you know what it is? She shook her head, whispering softly. No. But the cloth. It senses it. Warns me. The cloth pulsed, sending tiny sparks into the air, almost like it was shaking with fear or anger. Suddenly, the sky above the colony darkened. A shadow passed across the twin moons, massive, larger than any ship, its energy signature twisted and terrifying. Ryland's heart sank. They brought it, whatever it is, he muttered, taking cover behind a broken wall. The woman stepped forward, the cloth glowing brighter. It is not just a weapon. It is a hunter, she whispered, almost in awe. The cloth's light stretched toward the enemy vessel, scanning, sensing, and preparing. The massive ship opened a port, and hundreds of dark drones poured out, descending toward the colony like a black storm. Ryland raised his weapon, but even he knew bullets would not stop them. The cloth reacted instantly, tendrils of blue-white energy shooting out, slicing drones in half, tossing them aside as if they were toys. Ryland's eyes widened. It's unstoppable, he muttered, diving to avoid another blast from us. On the enemy ship. It's alive, the woman whispered. It chooses the strongest threat first. The drones regrouped, attacking in perfect coordination. But the cloth moved faster, forming a glowing dome around Ryland and the woman, each pulse of light pushing back the enemies. The colony shook as the massive ship above prepared a new strike. A weapon unlike any they had seen, a beam of dark energy forming at its core. Tara shouted, Ryland, they are charging a planet-destroying weapon. It will hit us in minutes. Ryland's chest tightened. He looked at the woman. We need a plan, and fast. She nodded, the cloth now spinning like a vortex, glowing fiercely. We do not have time for plans. We must act, and we must trust the cloth. Suddenly, the cloth projected a holographic image into the air, showing the enemy ship's interior, corridors, and core structure. It's showing us. The weak point, Ryland whispered, awe in his voice. The woman's eyes glowed. Yes. If we reach it, we can stop them. But it will be dangerous, more than anything we faced. Ryland clenched his fists. Then we do it, no matter what. The cloth pulsed, forming a path of glowing energy toward the enemy ship, almost like a bridge stretching into the dark sky. The woman whispered, It will guide us, but it will test us. Only the worthy can survive. Ryland glanced at the bridge of light, then at the massive ship and nodded. "We are ready." He grabbed her hand and together they stepped onto the glowing path, the cloth reacting instantly, protecting them from the void of space below. As they approached the enemy ship, alarms blared and automated turrets fired. Energy blasts tore through the path, but the cloth's light expanded, deflecting every shot, pushing back the destructive force. The drones swarmed around them, but the cloth lashed out, slicing through hundreds, its energy humming like a living. Heartbeat. Ryland's mind raced. "It's almost too perfect and too powerful." The woman whispered, "It is. But it chooses us because it sees what we cannot. It knows our strength, our fear, and our will." Suddenly, the massive ship shuddered, a deep, resonant hum filling the air, and then a voice boomed, strange, mechanical, yet almost alive. "You possess the relic, but you cannot comprehend its power. You are insignificant." Ryland froze, his heart pounding. "Did it just speak?" he asked, fear creeping in. The woman's face was pale. "Yes. And it is warning us. The enemy knows the cloth, knows what it can do, and now it is testing us. They will do anything to take it." The cloth pulsed violently, a shockwave pushing Ryland and the woman forward along the energy bridge, sending drones spinning into the void. "Hold on," the woman shouted, gripping the cloth tighter. "It is preparing for the final strike." The ship's dark energy beam fired, slicing the space around them, and for a moment Ryland thought they were finished, but the cloth flared, creating a barrier of blinding light, absorbing the attack, and then reflected it back toward the enemy ship, hitting the massive hull, sending sparks and fire into the void. Ryland's eyes widened. It reflected the attack. It can fight back. The woman nodded, whispering softly, "It always fights back. For those it chooses, we must reach the core, or everything will be lost." As they neared the massive ship, the glow of the cloth intensified, revealing secrets, maps, and pathways, guiding them to the enemy's heart. Ryland realized the truth. This is no longer just about survival. We are holding the fate of humanity in our hands. The wind of space whistled around them, the enemy ship trembling from the reflected energy, but Ryland knew it would not stop. They had entered the final stage of the battle where courage, skill, and the cloth's power would determine the outcome, and as they prepared to face the enemy inside, Ryland's heart pounded with fear and excitement, knowing one wrong step could destroy them all. But the cloth pulsed once more, a heartbeat of hope and power, whispering silently, "We are ready, if we dare." Ryland and the woman stepped onto the enemy ship, the glowing cloth hovering before them, casting a bright path through the cold metallic corridors. The ship hummed, alive, and every step they took echoed with a strange resonance, as if the walls themselves were watching. The woman whispered, "The cloth. It feels different here, stronger, but heavier, like it carries the weight of something terrible." Ryland's heart pounded. "Terrible? What do you mean?" She shook her head, her eyes wide. "I don't know, but we will see soon." They advanced cautiously, the cloth sending tiny tendrils of light ahead, scanning the path, disabling traps, and marking safe passages. The ship's dark energy pulsed around them, almost like it was breathing, and the shadows seemed to move with intent. Suddenly, a chamber opened before them, massive and ominous, filled with swirling dark energy, and in its center, a massive core pulsated, alive and twisted. It radiated power, cold and terrifying. Ryland's hands shook as he aimed, but the woman stepped forward, the cloth glowing fiercely, forming a protective dome around them. "The core," she whispered, her voice trembling. "It's alive. It wants the cloth. And it knows we are here." Ryland swallowed hard. "Then we fight, no matter what." The core surged, sending waves of energy toward them, pushing against the cloth. But the cloth pulsed back, stronger, forming energy blades that cut through the darkness. Ryland felt the raw power vibrating through his bones. The enemy's whispers filled the chamber, voices overlapping, mechanical yet alive, taunting them. "You can, but comprehend, you are weak. The relic belongs to us." Ryland's fear spiked, but he looked at the woman, her eyes glowing like fire. "We are not weak. The cloth chose us." She nodded, holding the cloth high, and suddenly the tendrils of light shot forward, striking the core, searing energy arcs ripping through the dark energy. The core shrieked, a sound that vibrated through their minds, images flashing of planets destroyed, civilizations crushed, and humans enslaved. Rylan felt a shiver run down his spine. It shows us the future if we fail, he whispered, his voice shaking. The woman's grip on the cloth tightened, and the glow intensified, almost blinding. Then we cannot fail. Not now, not ever. The cloth seemed to react to her determination, spinning like a vortex, energy lashes striking the core, tearing through layers of dark metal and energy. Suddenly, a figure appeared from the shadows, humanoid but twisted, dark energy coursing through its veins, eyes glowing red. You dare enter my domain? It hissed, the voice echoing like metal grinding. Rylan raised his weapon, but the cloth surged forward, forming a shield, deflecting a blast of energy from the figure. The woman whispered, "It's the Guardian, the last defense before the core." Rylan's mind raced. "Then we destroy it, or we never leave," the Guardian charged, faster than anything Rylan had ever seen. But the cloth responded instantly, lashing out with energy, cutting across the air with precision. The fight was a blur of motion, Rylan ducking blasts, dodging energy spikes, and following the woman as the cloth led, protecting them at every step. The Guardian struck again, a massive wave of dark energy, but the cloth pulsed, forming an impenetrable dome, reflecting the energy back, striking the Guardian and throwing it back into the shadows. Rylan gasped, It is alive, fighting with us." The woman nodded, whispering softly, "It chooses the worthy, and it has chosen us." The core pulsed violently, sending the entire chamber into chaos. The floor cracked, energy tearing through the walls, and debris flying everywhere. Rylan held onto the woman's arm as the cloth extended, forming bridges across broken sections, guiding them forward. Finally, they reached the core, the dark energy swirling like a storm, almost conscious, almost aware. The cloth pulsed, sending a tendril straight into the heart of the core, and for a moment the entire chamber went silent, the energy stilling. Rylan could feel the pulse of the cloth, strong, steady, alive. Then the core screamed, a sound that shattered walls, and the energy exploded outward. But the cloth absorbed it, glowing brighter than ever, a light so intense it burned through the darkness, revealing the core's true form. A massive alien relic older than any human history. Its power unimaginable, Rylan whispered, awe in his voice. This is what the cloth was protecting, or fighting for. The woman nodded, holding the cloth high. It is the source, and it has chosen us to wield it, to protect humanity. The Guardian rose again, weaker but still alive, and the core pulsed, preparing another strike. The woman whispered, one final strike, the cloth and we together. Rylan gripped her hand, feeling the surge of energy, the raw power of the cloth merging with their courage. The cloth flared, a blinding wave of light, striking the core, the Guardian, and the chamber walls, energy explosions shaking the entire ship. And then, silence. The core stilled, the Guardian fell, and the dark energy dissipated, leaving the chamber empty but glowing with the cloth's light. Rylan looked at the woman, his heart pounding. Did we win? She smiled faintly, exhausted but alive. For now, but the cloth, it has shown us more. There is still much we do not know. They stood in the chamber, the cloth floating between them, pulsing softly, a heartbeat of hope, and Rylan realized the truth. We are no longer just survivors, we are protectors, chosen to face what no human has. Rylan and the woman stepped carefully through the glowing corridors of the enemy ship, the cloth hovering between them, its light cutting through the shadows. Every step echoed and every corner seemed to hide dangers they could not yet see. The woman whispered, "The cloth feels uneasy, like something is watching, waiting for the right moment." Rylan frowned, gripping his weapon. "Then we must be ready, whatever comes." As they approached a massive control room, alarms suddenly blared, red lights flashing across the walls. The ship trembled, as if alive and angry. The cloth pulsed violently, lashing out with energy to neutralize traps, and the air vibrated with power. Suddenly, a figure stepped out from the shadows, human but wearing the dark uniform of the enemy. "You think you have the power to challenge us?" It hissed, voice familiar yet strange. Rylan froze, and his stomach dropped. "Wait, that's..." It was Dalen, one of their trusted allies from the human fleet, but his eyes glowed red, twisted by dark energy. "You should not have come. The cloth belongs to us now." Dalen's smile was cruel. "You are weak. Humans are weak. And I am the one who will control the relic." Rylan's heart pounded, betrayal cutting deeper than any weapon. "Dalen, why? We trusted you." The woman gripped his arm, the cloth glowing fiercely. "He is not himself. The enemy corrupted him, but he will fight to the death." Dalen lunged, dark energy forming blades in his hands. Rylan dodged, firing his weapon, but the blast barely slowed him. The cloth reacted instantly, forming energy shields, deflecting strikes and protecting the two humans. "You cannot win," Dalen sneered. "The relic will obey me, and through me the entire galaxy will fall." Rylan's mind raced. "No, the cloth chooses only the worthy, and it chose us." The fight erupted in the massive control room, energy blasts clashing, metal bending, lights flickering. The cloth pulsed, spinning, striking with tendrils of blue-white energy, keeping Dalen at bay, but his skill and dark power were unmatched. Rylan realized the truth. "We cannot just fight him. We must use the cloth and the relic itself." The woman nodded, whispering, "It is showing us a way. We can sever the corruption, but it will be dangerous, more than we faced before." Dalen's laughter echoed. "You think you can touch the relic? It will destroy you before you even try." He raised his hands, summoning a massive energy surge, the floor cracking beneath them. The cloth reacted, stretching tendrils toward the relic at the ship's core, creating a protective path for Rylan and the woman. "Now!" the woman shouted, and they sprinted along the glowing bridge of energy, dodging explosions and strikes. Reaching the core, the cloth pulsed violently and the dark energy surrounding Dalen surged in response. He screamed, a sound that shook their minds. "No, I am the chosen one." The woman placed the cloth directly on the core and it fused with the alien relic, sending a shockwave of blinding light. Dalen was thrown back screaming, his corruption peeling away in waves of energy. The cloth's glow expanded, pushing him into the void, and then the relic pulsed softly, as if sighing in relief. The enemy ship trembled, alarms silenced, and the shadows dissipated, leaving the humans alone with the glowing artifact. Rylan fell to his knees, exhausted. "Did we save him, or was he gone forever?" The woman shook her head, the cloth's light calming. "He was lost. But the cloth cleansed the corruption, and now it will guard humanity, not him." But even as relief filled their hearts, a distant rumble echoed through the ship, and a voice boomed from the ship's core, strange and mechanical. "You may have won this battle, but the war is not over, H. Humanity has awakened the relic, and the galaxy will remember." The woman whispered, her eyes wide. "The cloth. It knew this was coming. It prepared us, but there is more, something we cannot yet see." Rylan looked at her, determination and fear mixed. "Then we fight. Whatever comes next, we will not fail." The cloth pulsed one last time in that chamber, a heartbeat of hope and power, glowing softly as if acknowledging their courage, guiding them toward the exit. But deep within the ship, unseen forces stirred, plotting, waiting for the humans to let down their guard. And as Rylan and the woman stepped into the corridor, ready to escape the enemy ship, they both knew the final confrontation was coming. A battle that would decide the fate of not just humanity, but the entire galaxy. The relic pulsed, brighter now than ever, whispering silently, "The worthy shall prevail, but the shadows are not gone. Yet." Rylan and the woman ran through the corridors of the enemy ship, the glowing cloth floating ahead, casting light into every dark corner. The ship trembled violently, metal groaning, alarms screaming, and shadows twisting along the walls. It was alive, reacting to the cloth, preparing for a final strike. The woman whispered, "The relic. It senses the danger. This is the last challenge, Rylan. Everything depends on this moment." Rylan nodded, gripping his weapon tighter. "Then we give it everything we have. No hesitation, no fear. Suddenly, the ship's core room opened ahead, massive and more terrifying than before. Dark energy poured like a storm, swirling with the remnants of the Guardian and the corrupted Dallin. But something new emerged, a colossal figure, half machine, half energy, its eyes glowing with ancient power, the ultimate commander of the enemy fleet. "You dare touch what you do not understand?" the figure boomed, its voice shaking the corridors. The air burned with raw energy, and every step it took cracked the floor beneath them. Ryland felt the ground tremble with each heartbeat. "We understand enough. Enough to protect humanity," he shouted. The woman lifted the cloth, its glow blinding, tendrils of energy reaching toward the figure, forming blades, shields, and bridges all at once. It moved as if alive, reacting faster than any human, cutting through the darkness, protecting and guiding them simultaneously. The enemy commander struck, a massive surge of dark energy. Rylan and the woman barely dodged, the force pushing them against the walls. The cloth pulsed, absorbing the energy, sending it back as a sharp beam that carved a path through the commander's armor, sparks flying. "You cannot stop me. I am the power of the galaxy. I will crush humanity," the commander roared, its energy forming massive shockwaves. The walls bent and the ceiling threatened to collapse. Ryland ducked, his weapon firing automatically, but the shots barely scratched the commander. The woman whispered urgently, "We cannot fight it with weapons alone. We must unite with the relic. Let it choose the strike." Ryland hesitated, fear gripping him. "Unite with it? Are you sure?" She nodded, the cloth glowing intensely. "There is no other way. Trust it. Trust us. Trust the cloth." Ryland stepped forward, placing his hand on the glowing cloth. The energy surged through him, a burning warmth, connecting him to the relic, to the woman, to everything. The world around him slowed, and he could feel the power of humanity flowing through him. Every heartbeat synchronized with the cloth. The commander attacked again, but this time the cloth reacted instantly, forming a massive barrier, its glow brighter than the sun. Blinding light cut through the shadows, the commander screaming as its energy collided with the cloth, sparks flying in every direction. Ryland felt the relic guiding his every move, his mind and body moving as one with it. Energy blasts formed around his hands, spinning into sharp projectiles, and he hurled them at the commander, each strike weakening it. The woman added her strength, focusing the cloth's energy like a spear, piercing the commander's core. The commander faltered, its voice trembling. "Impossible. No human. No weapon." The cloth pulsed violently, wrapping around the commander, restraining it, squeezing the dark energy out, absorbing its power, and finally, with a deafening roar, the commander exploded into fragments of light and energy. Rylan and the woman fell to their knees, exhausted, the ship shaking one last time. The cloth floated between them, calm now, glowing softly, as if acknowledging their victory. But the core room changed. The relic revealed its true form. A magnificent, ancient, human-made vessel, older than any memory, its power unmatched. The cloth had been guarding it for centuries, waiting for the worthy, the woman whispered, awe in her voice. It has chosen us. Humanity's future depends on us now." Rylan nodded, tears in his eyes. "We survived. We fought. We won. And we will protect it." Suddenly a transmission echoed through the ship, a voice from the Galaxy Council, urgent. "Humanity. The relic is active. All fleets report disturbances. The galaxy is shifting." Rylan looked at the woman, determination in his eyes. "Then we are not done. This is only the beginning." The cloth pulsed, guiding them toward the exit, and as they stepped into the corridors, fragments of the enemy fleet exploded in the distance, the glow of the relic lighting the galaxy. Rylan realized the truth. We are no longer just humans. We are guardians, chosen to fight against any force that threatens life, against any enemy that dares challenge humanity. The woman smiled faintly, exhausted, but triumphant, "And we will never stand alone. The cloth, the relic, and humanity are one." As they boarded the ship's control room, the stars outside glowing with the light of distant worlds, the cloth pulsed one final time and Rylan whispered, "Whatever comes next, we are ready." And far across the galaxy, hidden forces stirred, aware now that humanity had awakened something far greater than any of them had imagined, something that could challenge empires, conquer darkness, and defy destiny itself. The relic's glow stretched into the cosmos, a heartbeat of hope and power, and the galaxy would never be the same again.